Vice presidential debates don't usually change things in the presidential race, but that does not mean they are always boring or not memorable. Let's go through a few of my favorite and most memorable moments from vice presidential debates. So we'll start back. First of all, the first vice presidential debate was 1976. 1976. They haven't been around that long. They've been around as long as me, less than 50 years. I think probably the number one most memorable, most meaningful, most quoted vice presidential debate line came in 1988. So Lloyd Bentsen, Texas senator, was the Democratic vice presidential nominee for Michael Dukakis, and Dan Quayle, Indiana senator, was the vice presidential nominee for George H.W. Bush. In the debate, Quayle, who was like 40 at the time, maybe a little older, compared his relative youth and lack of legislative experience compared to Bentsen, who was much older. He compared it to Jack Kennedy, who obviously spent time in the Massachusetts as a U.S. House member in Massachusetts and a U.S. senator in Massachusetts before being elected president in 1960, which led to Bentsen saying very famously, "I served with Jack Kennedy. Jack Kennedy was a friend of mine. You, Senator, are no Jack Kennedy." To which Quayle was like, that was basically his face. So that's, if you're looking for like the most memorable moment of a VP debate, honestly, that's it. Or 4 years later, 1992, we have a three-way debate, right? Because Ross Perot, the independent, is getting enough of the vote to qualify for the presidential debates, and his vice presidential nominee, a guy named Admiral James Stockdale, who no one had really ever heard of before, made the VP debate. So in that debate, Stockdale, who again, no one knows, opens his remarks with, "Who am I? And why am I here?" Like, I get what he was trying to do. He was trying to make the point that he wasn't all that well known. He wanted to explain, people didn't know him, and he wanted to explain why he was running and why he had been chosen. But that was not the right choice of words to do that. So who am I and why am I here? I say that pretty frequently these days. Okay, so that's two. Third one, I'm going in chronological order. 2008, Sarah Palin, John McCain's running mate, against Joe Biden, Barack Obama's running mate. Fun and interesting fact. This is the only vice presidential debate that ever got bigger TV ratings than a presidential debate. And the reason for that is not because of Joe Biden. Sorry, Joe Biden fans. It's because of Sarah Palin. People were utterly fascinated with her. They either loved her or they hated her, but they wanted to watch her. And the debate, is not really remembered for all that much that either one of them said. I remember two things about the debate. The first, when Sarah Palin came out and they shake hands and she says, "Can I call you Joe?" As opposed to vice president, I guess. And Biden, of course, says, "Sure." And then the wink, which Tina Fey has made famous in her impression of Sarah Palin. But I looked this up. Sarah Palin winked at the audience no less than 6 times during that debate. 6. I can only wink with this eye. I can't wink with this eye. I can't make it happen. I'm sorry. I'm not a bilateral winker. So can I call you Joe? And the winking. So that was 2008. And then there was 2020. Now this was during COVID. This was Mike Pence, Donald Trump's VP, against Kamala Harris, Joe Biden's pick for VP. No one remembers anything that was said in that debate. You know what they remember? Mike Pence, as you probably know, has white hair. Remember when the fly landed on Mike Pence's head and stayed there for an extended period of time? Yes, that was the fly debate. So 88, 92, 2008, 2020, those are the 4 that I sort of remember. I don't think VP debates, generally speaking, move the needle. That's if you're thinking about the Vance-Walz debate. Most people vote for the top of the ticket always. I think that's especially true when Donald Trump is at the top of the ticket and the vice president, Kamala Harris, is the Democratic nominee. I don't think what happens in the Walz Vance debate will fundamentally alter, or maybe even alter at all, the trajectory of the race for president. I think this is more about the future of the political candidates. Just as an example, Dan Quayle was sort of devastated by that Lloyd Benson line. I served with Jack Kennedy. Jack Kennedy was a friend of mine. You know Jack Kennedy. And it kind of cast Quayle as this whimpering loser. And he never really got over that. He never really made any inroads nationally beyond that, serving as VP. And so it can matter for your political future. It can impact how people see you both inside your party and also just sort of the broader public, like how they perceive you. Because in truth, although less people will watch the Walz-Vance debate than watch the Biden-Trump debate or the Trump-Harris debate, there'll still be millions of people watching, tens of millions of people. And that's more eyeballs than you're going to get for a VP at any other point in this election. So it matters for the two men as they look to the future. And remember, JD Vance wants to run for president. He's in his early 40s. I think he will run at some point, and he has not had a great run of things in terms of press attention and coverage. So we'll see how he handles it, but that's what these debates are really about, these VP debates. They're not really about the future. Yeah, we may get a, can I call you Joe, or the wink, or who am I and why am I here, a line. But we're not likely to see that impact the presidential race in any meaningful way. This is about the two people on stage and what it means for their political futures. All right, that's all I got for today. As always, I ask you to do 4 things, and you have been doing this amazingly. We are continuing to surge upwards in terms of people subscribing to the channel. I cannot thank you enough for that. So the 4 things are, number 1, subscribe to this channel if you haven't. I make a video every single day, Monday through Thursday, and then on Friday I do a live stream at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm also, by the way, making YouTube more YouTube shorts, because I think that's another fun thing for me to do. I like doing that format, and it's a way to get people into this channel. So subscribe if you haven't subscribed. That's easy. Just hit subscribe. Second, and this is super easy, just like this video. You're already here. You're watching it. Just give it the old thumbs up. Number 3, comment. Not only because I'm doing it for the algorithm likes comments, but also because I'm trying to build community here. So I want to hear what you guys have to say. Is there a memorable VP debate moment that I somehow missed out on? Always possible. That you remember. And number 4, tell 10, at a minimum, 10 friends / colleagues / acquaintances / enemies. Just tell them what we're doing, why I'm doing it, why you like it, I hope, why it's interesting to you, why it's different, why it's, fun. So tell people about it, because I need you to be evangelists for me. Okay? All right, everybody take care. See you tomorrow.